This is Take a Cue, Season 2, Episode 14.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to Season 2 of Take a Cue. I'm Erik Donough, 8th grade band and jazz band director.
And I'm Jen Wise, 4th and 5th grade instrumental music teacher.
We're two veteran educators with over 35 years of experience teaching music in New Jersey public schools between the two of us, and we're excited to bring teaching experiences and insights to you.
So excited. Whether you're just starting out in your teaching career or you've been teaching longer than we have, this show will help you grow with new ideas and perspectives about music education and teaching.
We hope you'll be just as inspired as we are every time you listen. Before we begin, if you enjoy our podcast, please help us out by doing a few super easy things.
First, subscribe on your favorite podcast app.
Then, make sure you rate the podcast and leave a review.
It helps people find our show who haven't yet, and we really appreciate it.
If you find that you get a lot out of our episodes, we'd be grateful if you considered becoming a monthly supporter to help us grow the podcast.
You can sign up to make a secure monthly payment using the link in our show notes or on our Spotify for Podcasters site.
Also, if you have questions or comments about anything you hear on the episode, come and interact with us on social media. We're Take a Cue Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
All right. This is so good to see you, Erik.
Sorry, I just sneezed.
I was like, what was that? I was like, he dipped out of the frame. And
I was trying to do it inconspicuously. It was a really big sneeze. Hey, Jen, what's up?
Hey, Erik, it's so good to see you on here. This is great. Oh,
Yes.
my goodness. We're
nice.
just saying happy spring. And you know, we're still in the thick of our starting off right series, but this is, it's good to see you and just get to chat. So
Indeed, it's always a great time
Yeah.
to get together and see what's going on. Because although we work in the same district, we don't always get to see each other very often.
yeah, it's been pretty strange. We haven't had a department meeting in like a month, and the next one's not for another week or so. So this is good timing. We get to check in. But
So what's been going on? I don't want to jump right into school yet. I haven't even gotten to see you and find out how life is going these
I know,
days.
right?
What's new?
I'm working on my master's project, my thesis, the final draft. I'm going to finish up this week. I'm defending the first week in May, so that's like very soon. And yeah, it's starting to come together. If you missed our last one before we started the Starting Off Right series, that's part of the whole project, the transcriptions of our episodes and kind of analyzing what we do and how we do it and writing about it and hoping that'll, besides all the content on here, hopefully that'll benefit someone out there. And so it's been fun to like pick apart what we do and go back and listen to some things. And
Jen, our listeners may not know this. We've been making these episodes about the Starting Off Right series, and those take a little time to put together. But Jen has been doing a ton of work behind the scenes to also get her master's work together, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I was lucky when I did my master's work. The only thing I had to do were the comp exams. I don't know if that's lucky.
I still have to do those too, but
you have to do comp exams and do your project. Wow.
Yeah. So, but the cool thing about what I'm doing now, and I'm finishing up at William Patterson University here. It's one of the state universities here in New Jersey, and they've been so gracious with me, and my advisors have been so gracious with me. I started these credits about 10 years ago, and we've kept in touch, and I've been sitting on 30 something credits for 7 or 8, 9 years, and they my advisor is wonderful. She reached out last year and said, hey, we're looking, people we lost track of during COVID, people we lost track of for whatever reason in the last few years. The university is granting some exceptions, so you can keep those credits and finish, and here we are. So I'm like, well, I guess this is the time. And she said, you know what, why don't we write about the podcast? Why don't we write about Take a Cue, kind of like a lecture recital? And so that's what we're doing. And the paper is going to include screenshots of social media and audio clips and, like I said, transcriptions. So that's what I've been up to.
Awesome.
About 60 pages in, and it's really coming together. So
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty cool. So I can't wait to share that with you. And I gotta say, like, thank you to our listeners, thank you to our supporters, and everybody that chimes in, on social media or just in passing. Like, just your feedback has been so valuable in putting this all together, the podcast and the paper. So thanks to everybody out there. It's been a cool process. So.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it, and I've learned a lot. I've already started taking some clips and things that we've been discussing over the last few episodes and bringing them into my classroom already, which is awesome.
Same here.
I remember specifically, you guys, our listeners probably haven't even heard this one yet, or maybe they have. I don't know what the order that we're going to release this, but on our percussion episode, Rick Gray talked about your percussionists having their mouth in their hands, and their mouth should be closed.
Yep.
I've actually taken the marker and drawn on my students' hands to remind them about the mouth. I'm dead serious.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I know. I hear you. We're looking for that too. And, that trick you did with the paper behind the reed, I did that in all my saxophone lessons in the last, few weeks. So awesome. They had that visual. It's been really helpful. So,
Jen, I want to tell you,
yes.
on the flute episode, you were talking about where the edge of the tone hole should be in relationship to somebody's lip. And one of my students, I noticed, had it about here. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it's about maybe a quarter of an inch too high compared with where the lip and the chin meet. And I had him bring that head joint down, and made a difference in his tone immediately.
Awesome. It's I had to make a big transition, especially after my braces came off in high school, to lower my lip plate on my lip. You see it all the time, and you don't realize, because you're getting a sound right in the beginning, and then you need that fuller sound. You need those overtones. It takes the right placement to find it. So that's great. I'm so glad you found that helpful. So I've just been in the thick of it with the paper, and that's been quite a lot. So how about you? What have you been what have you been up to outside of school?
Well, trying to make some music, and doing that in a few different ways. Just finished my third spring show for the season, and there's one to go. So it's 3 school musicals, and then I've got one coming up at a local community theater, which is Something Rotten. I think did you and I play that together, Jen?
I didn't. No, I don't think I've done that one. So
I can never I've played it like 3 or 4 times, and I can never remember who I played it with or anything like that. But but it's fun musical coming up at a community theater for a whole month-long run, which is different than usual school run, which is cool. And also getting ready with our church choir for a week-long residency at Wells Cathedral in England.
Wow.
And so we're going to be singing multiple services there every day for a week.
Cool.
And we've been preparing by doing monthly evensongs at church. If any of our listeners have not experienced an evensong, it's a very Anglican church thing, or Episcopal church thing, where it's essentially an evening service, but it's all chanted or sung by the choir. And so we've been doing that to get ready, which is awesome.
Cool.
And so trying to just make some music of my own, taking out the saxophone once or twice a week, which is awesome.
I saw your saxophone go by on Facebook. I was like, oh, there it is.
I had to post a picture of it. One, it's this gorgeous saxophone. It's beautiful. And number 2, it's just it's great to get it out, and it's inspiring to play when you take it out and you just see it sitting there.
Yeah, no pictures of your kids though. I saw this. I'm just kidding. Of course you.
I don't post a lot of pictures of my kids on Facebook.
I'm just teasing.
That's by design. That's by design.
Yeah.
But so trying to make some good music, and stay connected with that part of life. And as things get busy and kids get older, that becomes harder and harder to do. So it's important to take stock and keep playing. At least for me, I know that makes me feel more whole.
Yeah, totally.
What about you, Jen? You done any playing lately, or?
So I have some coming up. I'm going to be playing the summer concerts with Livingston Symphony Orchestra again.
Oh, no way!
Yeah. So I'm excited to do that. I played with them last winter, and they asked me back this winter, and I couldn't pull it together. Working on this project. But I'll do the concert with them in August. So they start rehearsing for that in June, and I'm looking forward to that. So I can't really commit to some of the outdoor concert series things that are floating around with the community groups around here. That's a lot, but for this, it's one concert, one night a week. It's gonna be nice. So I'm excited about that program.
That's
coming
great.
up.
Do they need any saxophonists by any chance in the orchestra?
You know what? I will let you know if I hear of an opening. So
I would love to play in an orchestra. It just turns out that nobody ever needs a saxophonist.
I know, it's so
Unless they're
rare.
doing Gershwin.
Right.
Or Ravel or something.
You never know. So I'll keep you in mind. I'll throw your name out there. So
But Jen, I know this year was a little tough for you and the fam with all the sickness going around.
Yeah.
And you guys just got hit hard.
We really did.
How's everybody feeling?
We're doing okay. TJ had adenoids removed last month, and tubes put in his ears, and so I'm hoping that makes. I mean, already I'm seeing a big difference. As a music teacher, I started to panic because he couldn't hear. He really was having a hard time hearing us.
Yeah.
We went through all the steps with the ENT, and he said, you know what, it's time. So we did that, and since then, I mean, his speech came back to normal right away. He's hearing normally, and hopefully the plague has left the house for now. And it was funny. I actually had one of my students started listening to the podcast because his private teacher Meredith Coleman was on, and and he was like, I forgot how sick you were. He's like, every other episode you have you're sneezing or you lose your voice or something. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
But I think we might be out of the weeds, but knock wood, so, cause that's been a big one. How about you? How are the kids?
Everybody's doing okay. Yeah. Luckily, knock on wood, this year we've actually somehow, for the first time in 11 years, have kind of escaped a lot of the dreaded daycare germs and things. That might be because Kate's finally going to kindergarten next year. Wow. I don't know how that happened. And even worse, Maggie's going to middle school next year.
I can't believe it.
Big changes, but that just might help us with the in the germ department that we've had quite a few years of daycare germs in the house. Probably, let's see, about 10 years worth of daycare germs in the house. So
it's time. You guys need a break.
Time. Yeah.
We're post spring break here in North Jersey. So I personally, I think it was too early. I know we were trying to align it with the Easter holiday and everything, but I kind of wish we were off now. Now I need a break. I need a break now at the end of April when things are a little warmer. But I
could have taken spring break and this break and another one just a couple weeks later. I'd be okay with both.
I like that idea.
Let's just go to school until July.
Oh,
I'm
no.
Just kidding. I'm kidding.
Bad, Eric. But yeah, I mean, I'm starting with my groups. I'm starting to think, post spring break concert coming up type rehearsing, so as early as it is, it's good, to think that way, because state testing's coming up, and that always changes how I have to rehearse and everything. So
our concert was moved actually 3 weeks earlier than it originally was planned at the beginning of the school year. So our concert is in 5 rehearsals. We have 5 rehearsals left till May 2nd.
Okay.
Our spring concert's usually it's May 18th. How's your band sounding? When is your concert?
So my concerts are May 29th and 30th, and I also have 5 or 6 rehearsals left. Yeah, but it's still
because you've got the once a week rehearsals.
Yeah, so they still they have a lot more time technically, but FaceTime, yeah, we only have about 5 or 6 rehearsals, 5 or 6 lessons with each group. So,
okay.
I think I picked the right stuff. I think I picked, the right music, and we're pacing ourselves, and we're coming together as a band. It's just, this after spring break time comes up really, really quickly. So,
Yes.
yeah, we're doing 4 pieces. I guess I'm doing 4 pieces with each group.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, so a little march with the band, and then a really fun piece by William Owens called Storm Chasing.
I like
It's programmatic, it's dark, it's, and actually one of my students, one of my percussionists, is going to do MIDI sound effects to go with it, because written in the part is like an air raid siren and rain sounds and that kind of thing, which is really interesting, but it's just not cutting through the band. So we're going to do it, he's going to pump it through the sound system. I think that's going to be pretty fun.
Nice.
So,
Sounds like marching band now.
yes, yeah,
All the different triggered sounds and everything.
It's true. And I gave the 5th graders, I threw them a bone. We're going to do Guantanamera, fun little upbeat piece for the 5th graders, and
like that.
Popcorn Prelude. So
I don't know that one. Tell me about that.
Oh, Popcorn Prelude is super cute. It's their music is marked with what notes when they play that they need to stand. Mm-hmm. So they stand while they play a few notes, and then they sit down, and the next section stands, and then they sit down, and it's like a measure of notes. And then as the piece goes on, it's like 2 beats of 1 beat, and then all of a sudden they're popping up all over. And
that's fun.
It's really cute. And at the end, they all play the last note together and stand on the last note. So it's like, okay, this is going to be the end of the program. Hopefully the audience will clap for you, and that'll be, everybody will take a bow, and that's the end. So that's going to be the end of our concert. And it, as I know, it's like one of those things. It's like, do you really need to have them do that? But it's all scale patterns. It's all arpeggios. It's all, it's the key of E flat, which, for first year, we need to dabble in that. So, I'm like, why not? We can. It's worth doing. So
Popcorn Prelude.
Prelude. Yeah.
So any of our listeners who are elementary band teachers out there, check out Popcorn Prelude. Did you say it's 4th or 5th grade doing that?
4th and 5th grade combined. So
combined. Right.
Yeah,
so it would be appropriate for a spring 4th grade concert, or an earlier 5th grade.
I wouldn't ask my first year players to do it alone without the 5th graders, especially since I have a fairly small low brass section right now. There's 5 of them versus the 80 in the rest of the band. So for the 5 of them to stand up, okay, we can do it. But for my 2 trombones in the 4th grade to do it by themselves, no, I wouldn't put them in that position unless they were really go-getters and wanted to do it. But first and second year kids combined, absolutely, yeah, they can do it. So
now the Storm Chasing, which group is that? Remind me.
Same thing, 4th and 5th grade combined.
Is everything combined?
Everything's combined except for Guantanamera. We're doing that one for the 5th grade only, because it's fast. It takes, you really need to be articulating very clearly to do it. And, the percussion parts are, I think it's actually for drum set, but we're just going to split it up and throw a bunch of accessory percussion in for fun. And that should be fun. That should be a good one. But
that's great. Oh, yeah. I'm excited. I really hope it goes well. I'm sure it'll be awesome.
Thanks.
Your bands always sound great, and the kids always pull it together.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're rehearsing. We're rehearsing, better honestly than we have in the last couple of years. So I think we're really getting a good idea of how to rehearse. I'm not commenting on what we sound like yet, because like I said, we just came off spring break, and we're still building that up. But they're rehearsing very well, so that's good.
That's great.
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear it.
What's on the program for you guys?
Well, this concert, we're just doing 3 pieces. Last concert we did 4. This one I decided, because it was so quick, and we've got a couple heavy hitters on there, to take it easy. I don't want to say take it easy, but not overextend ourselves.
Sure.
So our program for this concert is The Sun God Ceremony, which is an Anne McGinty piece, and it's actually beautifully written without a lot of rhythmic percussion. Now there is some percussion parts, it's written in there, not just mallets, but some drums as well, but it's definitely not repetitive, and there's no like repeating patterns or rhythmic activity. It's beautifully written, and it's very dense. There's a lot going on in the piece. And so the kids have really been working on bringing out the moving parts and being a little less, having a little less volume on the longer notes. Also finding the little 2-bar theme as it goes throughout the piece and bringing that out. It's a bit different than you might find in some other middle school pieces, because it does have such small chunks, but also so much going on. Even within sections, there's very differing rhythms, even from clarinet 1 to clarinet 2. So if any of our colleagues out there are, in a middle school group, a really good 7th grade group, or, an 8th grade group that wants to be able to play a little bit more musically, a little more lyrically, this is a great tune to check out. It has a recorder solo in the beginning.
Oh, neat.
I have a student who has not dropped her recorder, since she played it. I don't mean physically dropped. I mean, she hasn't stopped playing it since 3rd grade. So
Cool.
She's still playing it. And she's definitely played the solo a few times in rehearsals. And I have another student who owns and plays an ocarina, who has been doing the solo a few times on ocarina as well.
That's interesting. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
wow.
really cool piece. Definitely worth checking out for our colleagues out there. We got a transcription of Night on Bald Mountain, transcribed by Mark Williams, which is great. I love trying to get a transcription in 8th grade if possible of, a famous piece or a famous orchestral piece. And they're really enjoying that. I got the low brass and low reeds to really hit it hard this year.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, they just, if I conduct it, I'm big and I really lay it, and they just give it right back.
Oh, good.
Which is awesome.
I had one of those moments the other day. I was like, oh goodness, I made eye contact with the trumpets. What was I thinking? So, yeah. Oh, that's
Trumpets
fun.
are okay this year.
Okay.
I got a solid trumpet section. They like to play at the floor more than they do out to an audience.
Yeah.
But really, the low brass and low woodwinds this year are really just, they're a great group.
Good.
I don't always get just the fullness of the sound from that group that I do this year. So hopefully next year we continue it. I don't know. We'll see. And then I didn't get to tell you about my student teacher. My student teacher is finishing up his time here. He's finished just a couple days after our concert.
Wow.
And he's conducting The Great Locomotive Chase by Robert Smith.
Cool. All right.
he
That
picked
old
it.
chestnut. All right. Nice. Very nice.
We had it in the library. I've never conducted it.
Okay.
I did know of the piece. I've never played it, never conducted it, but he saw it and he's like, yeah, I think I want to do that one. And I was like, all right, good. Good challenge.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be
He's
great.
a percussionist.
Okay.
So it's been really fun watching him work with the percussion, because the percussion needs in that piece are pretty, high level on some of the parts.
Yeah.
Especially there's some 4 mallet technique that's needed, or not needed, but suggested in some of the mallet parts. So he's been working with some of our mallet players on 4 mallet technique. I've never had 8th graders playing 4 mallets before.
Yeah. Really. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So he's been working on that with them, and he's doing a great job, It's been interesting for me. I know. I'm sorry. I'm kind of like just diving in here a little extra.
I want to. That's what we're here for.
So, like this year, if our listeners want to go back and listen to some of the episodes at the beginning of this school year, you'll hear that like this is the first time I've ever had a student teacher after starting teaching 22 years ago. So I'm learning a lot. They don't really give you a whole light course on how to be a cooperating teacher, at least from Montclair. I don't know if there's other schools out there that like really, dive into how do you work as a co-op teacher.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like just figuring it out. They give you a little packet of information. So I'm trying to figure this out. I learned a lot this year. I'm still struggling with how and when to jump in and when not to jump in.
Yeah.
Luckily this year my student teacher is pretty good. So I feel totally comfortable leaving him to do rehearsals or lessons when I'm not in school. I don't have any problem with that. And when he's teaching, there are still times I want to jump in, but I have to bite my tongue.
Right.
I kind of have gotten in the habit is if it's not technically incorrect, I usually bite my tongue. Like if he's not giving them out and out just wrong answers about something.
Sure, yeah.
which happens rarely.
Right.
So it's not like he's doing this all the time, but occasionally he might jump in with a wrong fingering or something like that for a woodwind instrument, as any student teacher would.
Right.
I'll jump in and say, oh, nope, we want to use, 1 and 1 for that, or we want to use the side B flat, or whatever. But I usually bite my tongue and we talk about it later. I try not to jump in too much.
Sure.
And kind of let him go, even if it's a tough situation, where a kid is asking a question and he doesn't have the answer right away, or if there's something that's wrong and he knows there's something wrong, but he's trying to figure it out. I don't jump in there and tell him,
right.
Because that's important for him to learn how to ferret out wrong notes, or this rhythm, I was going to teach it this way, but the way that I'm teaching it still isn't getting through. What can I do instead? I don't usually jump right in to help him with that, but he's been doing very well. I know he's working hard on his doubles.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. I said, look, you've got to come in and you've got to model. Mm-hmm. You got to model for these kids.
Yeah.
So you got to get out the flute,
you really do.
even if it's a trumpet lesson and you're, more comfortable on the flute or whatever, just get out an instrument you're comfortable with and go with it.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to. But it's good you're giving him that space to do that, and you gotta do it now because next year he's out there,
Yeah.
So
he's got a couple lesson groups that I know are tough for various reasons, and he's working with it. And there are a couple times, we'll say, well, he's like, well, I'll leave it up to him. I'll say, okay, what lessons do you want to take today? Because he's supposed to teach 3 periods a day.
Okay.
3 classes a day. And so I'll say like, okay, well, you're going to do general music and band. And then which one of these 2 lessons do you want? I'll give him the option. But there's a couple lessons where I'm like, okay, you're taking this lesson today.
Yeah, like you need to work with this group, and
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's good.
So yeah, he's getting there. He's getting there. I think he's going to be great when he gets out.
That's awesome.
And works out in the world. I don't know if he listens to the podcast. I've told him about a couple episodes. I'm like, hey, you should really check this episode out. I think it would be helpful.
Right.
I don't know if he actually listens to it or not.
Okay.
But
if he does, I gotta say, I think we should do. We haven't talked about this yet, but I think we should do a rewind on, for his sake, the episodes we did with John Leister about getting that first job and getting out there, and it's job hunting season, springtime. So
it is.
I think now is a really good time for us to do a rewind and re-release some of those episodes and remind everybody that they're out there, because this is the time to brush up your resume. It's the time to get just. I don't know, stick your neck out there and see what's opening up, see what's going on. So that was
indeed.
Yeah.
And there's some of our highest ranked episodes on YouTube and on Schoology. Listen to me. On YouTube.
You're really in it.
And on Spotify.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's a reason for that.
It's true. Yeah. And it's episodes 18 and 19. Those are the ones that you're looking for. But we'll put them right out there on Facebook and Instagram for you to get to. So that it's easier to find this month, because, it's not on my mind. I think I'm staying put, but I know a lot of us out there are looking for something different this spring. So
sure. Yeah. So tell me about your orchestra. I've heard about your band, and I know this is generally a band-focused podcast, though, of course, a lot of the stuff that we talk about is, applicable to really any music classroom.
Yeah.
But tell me about your orchestra. How's that going?
It's going very well. So I don't know if we've talked about this in a while, but this year I'm only teaching about a third of my beginners. Our colleague Carissa Phillip has been just amazing with my beginners. She stepped in. She took 4 lesson groups off my hands. So that's about 2/3 of my beginner orchestra. yeah, I appreciate her so much because, she's a viola player. Like that's her thing, and this is my 6th year teaching strings. We're making it happen. It's working. I've definitely grown as a string teacher. But
holy cow.
Yeah. But it's nice, to have her, teach, most of our beginners. So that said, this program that I picked for the spring is, it's not too far of a reach, but it is a little more challenging than what I would have done if it was just me working with the strings. So, awesome. But yeah, so awesome. I'm so happy she's there. So we're doing a piece called Raindrop Serenade. It's all pizzicato, and it starts with like a little aleatoric section, and they all come in at different times with different rhythms. Like there's a prescribed set of pitches for each instrument, but then you can play them with any rhythm, any kind of tone you want, and it really does sound like raindrops. It's very pretty. And then the beat kind of starts, and they all line up and play the melody. But that one's been really fun. And we're doing something. A piece called Robo Rock, and it's cool.
Robo Rock.
Rock.
Tell me about this. This seems like a little different than you might hear at an orchestra concert.
Yeah. It's I wish I could remember what method. I'm gonna have to go back and figure out what method book I took it from. But it's from a string method book, but the accompaniment track let's say is lacking. So I had planned in my head and I do this with at least one of my string orchestra pieces every year anyway, but I was planning to have some of my percussionists come in and play along with the group. Sometimes the parts are written out, sometimes they're not. In this case, they're not written out. But as I said earlier, we only have 5 or 6 rehearsals left. My orchestra rehearsals are on a different day at 7:15 a.m. From my band rehearsals, I'm struggling to find the right students to come in and play along with the orchestra. So I am having anybody who's interested kind of create like a loop, like using loops and beats and real instruments on GarageBand to kind of make us an accompaniment track for Robo Rock. So that's what we're doing right now.
What a fun opportunity. Great thinking outside the box.
Yeah. So we'll have to see how this works out. We'll probably end up voting on which one we think suits the melody the most. And like usually for my winter concert, I've said this before, is like we'll create our own arrangement of something. And if with the string players, because a lot of it that is a lot of what we do is just slightly beyond for what I do with the band in the first year or two is learning by rote. They need to have that ear to make sure they're hitting the pitches in the right spot. So a lot of things a lot of years we'll just we'll kind of make our own arrangement and come up with our own arrangement of something. But I think this is going to take the place of that for the spring concert, is coming up with our own accompaniment track. So that's fun. And then the chamber orchestra is doing a little bagpipe melody, and we're going to do some kind of crazy accelerando in that, and end up like smoke coming from our bows at the end. So that should be fun. And then
all the horsehair is just going to be flying. Is the chamber orchestra like your advanced orchestra?
It is, yeah. Okay. And it's not a separate group that rehearses outside of school or anything. It's just a lesson group of students that their technique is way beyond mine as only a 6th year. Some of them have been playing longer than I have, and this, like I said, this is my 6th year teaching orchestra. So so they're this is the group that sight reads. This is a group we talk a lot about musicality. We talk about playing as a group. We have students lead the lesson pretty often, and
that's great.
Yeah, so that's going to be for the chamber group. And then the other thing we're doing is an arrangement of Beethoven's Ninth by Brian Balmages. It's tricky, and I kind of told myself if they're not able to pull it together by the end of the month, I'm just going to give them an arrangement of the Ode to Joy melody that they can learn in one lesson, and we'll perform that. But this, it's got speed up, some slow down, some lifts, and it's
How are they doing?
It's developing. What I appreciate.
It's so diplomatic. Of you.
Sorry,
it's developing.
No, it's developing. But what I appreciate about what I appreciate about the arrangement is that the second violin part and the viola part are mostly just the melody, and they live on that one just lives on the DNA string, and that's great. That's right where my beginners are, and then I can give my second year students the first violin part, which stretches up onto the E string a bit, and the cello part's very achievable if you can count. So that we're navigating that, having the inner part be the melody, having the first violin part being more of a descant, and it's just something they haven't experienced yet because they've been playing for 18 months. So it's a challenge, but we're gonna get it. I love
it. Hey, you got to set the bar high, and you know what?
Yeah.
It's nice that there's something to fall back on. Do they know that there's something to fall back on?
No.
Good.
No, definitely not. I didn't, and it's not like a threat. Like, if you can't get this, I'm going to give you the, no, none of that. It's just, I know I found it in a drawer, this other arrangement. I was like, okay, this will work if it doesn't come together. So they'll still get to play the melody. They'll still get to,
Nice.
So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you got quite a full set of concerts coming up.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. I dread the weeks where we have to do the state testing thing. I dread losing all that face time. I'm going to be proctoring this year, so that's next. But
this is the first year that I remember where we're actually having our concert before state testing. So, although I'm complaining that we have 3 fewer weeks to work on our music, usually some of those weeks are state testing, so there's less time.
Right.
So it's actually nice to get it out of the way and then not be going like, we got a concert coming up and I didn't get to see my kids last week and all this other stuff. It's kind of just done.
Yeah.
But we do have Dorney coming up.
I was going to say, you do have a festival coming up, and I don't know if you saw my email, but I'm going. Yay!
Yes.
Thank you for inviting me. That's going to be so fun.
Of course, Jen. I always reach out to the music teachers first.
Yeah.
Especially the band teachers. But yeah, so we have our festival coming up on May 31st in Allentown, Pennsylvania. We get to go and play at the Calvary Temple and then head on over to Dorney Park. It's always a highlight of the year. Gives me a project to work on during the year. I'm very much like a project person. So I like having a project to work on.
That's going to be really good.
Collecting hundreds and hundreds of checks is, always super fun. But yeah, we've got that going on. And, I think it's going to be fun. The kids are sounding great. My student teacher is going to come back for Dorney. So he's going to conduct one of the pieces at the festival.
Okay.
I feel like he should have that experience of conducting in front of judges and all that. But he's usually he's pretty stoic.
Okay.
I don't think he gets ruffled by this.
You don't think it's going to rattle him or anything?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No. Right. He's worked with marching bands for a few years now and indoor drumline and indoor stuff. So he, so he's used to playing in front of judges and different crowds and things like that. So I think this will be just one more, one more competition or festival that he's done. But always good to have that experience, I think.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're at summer. I don't know how that happened.
I know. I can't believe it. So yeah, we're going to have to figure out what to talk about for the rest of the year and, just how to wrap up this season and,
Yeah, Jen, I think this is coming out in May and that means we have one more episode. In June.
I can't believe it. That's so wild. I'm not.
Oh, what? Sorry.
No, I'm not prepared for that. I'm not prepared yet for the end of the. I think once I finish this project, the master's project, I think I'll feel a little, more ready. But yeah. I'm going to have some serious senioritis after that's done.
You mean I have to do a Take a Cue episode? Really?
What? Spring concert? Really? Can we just, yeah.
But yeah, so I think our plan is to, do another check-in here toward the end of the year, kind of take a look back at some of our our New Year's resolutions that we had back a few episodes ago and see how we kept up with those. I honestly haven't listened to that episode since we recorded it, so I'm going to go back and see. Have I really done the things that I said I was going to do?
I know. I've got to do that too. And I know for sure one of them I have not kept up. So maybe between now and later in May when we record, maybe I can reboot that.
I'm going to listen to it now so I can make sure that I get everything in before June.
See, that's it. That's good planning right there. So, I like it. But.
Yeah. And, and it'd be nice to check in with CJ, if you've listened, audience members, if you've listened to our episodes in the past, you may remember that we've had one of our former students, CJ Margolis, on here talking about their experience as a music education major and going out and student teaching and all that cool stuff. And they're just wrapping up their junior year now.
Yeah. Yep. So, and that's a big one in music education. So, I can't wait to hear what's been going on over at TCNJ this semester. So, yeah, that'd be great.
So hopefully we'll be able to set that up and kind of do this end of the year extravaganza.
I know that'll be good. We'll have to come dressed for the beach, sunglasses and floppy hat and all. We are on YouTube now, so we can't go too crazy. So, oh no.
Yes, we are.
Oh.
So Jen, is there anything we missed?
Oh, I don't think so. We're just we're rolling into the end of the year. So wish us luck, everybody, and good luck to you all.
We wish you luck, everybody, because we know the end of the year can be nuts.
Yeah.
The kids are starting to feel that spring energy, aka not following directions as well. Starting to feel their oats a bit.
And we know you all have spring performances and preparing for band camp and preparing for marching band and Memorial Day parades and 4th of July and all that, the great stuff we get to do as band directors. So we're cheering you on. We're here for you. We're in it with you. So
yes. And as always, if you want to get in touch with us, you want to ask us anything, you want to give us some ideas for shows, you just want to reach out and say hi. My email address is Erik, ERIK, at Donough, DONOUGH.net. And Jen, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
I'm jenwisemusic, JenwiseMusic at gmail.com. That's also where you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. So
and if you'd like to get in touch with us, you can always check out our show notes. We always have our contact information there.
Tell your friends about us, share what you've learned, and get them listening, because the more people we have engaged here, the richer your experience is. So
find us on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure you subscribe on all the platforms: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, everything, Apple Podcast. Make sure you subscribe and rate us 5 stars if your platform actually has ratings, and because that's really helpful for us. It helps other people find us who may not know about us. I know it's hard to believe there may be some band director out there that's yet to hear of Take a Cue, Jen, but it's possible.
I know. It's possible. And if you're really loving what we're up to, consider becoming a monthly supporter. There's a link in our show notes. No tote bag for you yet, but we really appreciate anything you could do. We'll put it right back into what we do here at Take a Cue. So
we got to get the mugs.
Mugs out there. Know. They're really. That's a good mug.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to have our faceless faces on the outside of their mug? Jen,
listen.
Yeah, if there's somebody who doesn't want that, I don't want to meet them.
Yeah, they probably, I don't even know. Their band must sound terrible. No, just kidding.
That's your problem out there. If your band isn't sounding good, it's because you don't have the mug.
You got to get one of these.
You don't have the mug.
So that's it. Yeah. All right, Erik.
We're not actually selling them yet. So
no, we're not. And before I offend any more of our listeners, why don't we just get out there and make some great music?
Cheers, Jen.
And cheers. Happy spring, Erik.
Oh yeah, happy spring.
Yeah.